Good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Conversations on this sunny Monday morning in East Texas. How's the weather over there, boys?
Beautiful.
It's nice.
Sunshine?
Yeah.
Pollen?
It's got lots of it.
Cool, man. Well, this is Jason Goodson. I'm here with Johnny Taylor. We got on the wire today the normal cast of characters: John Cordova, Stu Shoemake, and Andy Baker. Get some coffee and enjoy the conversation with us. Hey, would you say that you guys love God and love coffee?
Yes.
Yep. Absolutely. For sure.
Okay. Would you say that you guys love to sit and have a conversation about God?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does it always have to be about God when you sit down? And does it always have to have this spiritual connotation when you sit down?
No.
No.
All right. Is it less spiritual to sit and enjoy God, even if we're talking about the Braves or the Rangers or whatever sports you like?
No.
Okay. Then give me a few minutes to vent about Frankie Francisco.
Bring it, brother.
No, I'm kidding.
Going with that.
Okay. No, I'm kidding. I love baseball season, and it's one of my favorite times of the year. It gives me an opportunity to, I just love watching baseball. I don't get it. I don't know. It's just it's part of the deal. Football and baseball are kind of the kings for me, and enjoy watching both. And it's so frustrating to know that once one person has a job, right, and their job is to pitch one inning a game. And in this one inning a game, they're to go out there and to make the pitches they're supposed to make to get the team out. They're smart enough to work the plate, and stuff like that. Well, anyways, the Rangers go in with 2 ninth inning leads and blow them totally in the last inning because he's not right yet. Yet he's had a whole month and a half of spring training to get right. I'm okay now. I feel so much better.
Now
the stress has walked away now.
The guy that came in before him for the inning before him, he's had the same amount of time, and
he's struck out every 6 batters he's faced in the 8th inning. Nobody has touched the ball in the 8th inning against the Rangers with Neftali Feliz.
I was about to say, who was that so I can go pick him up on my fantasy team?
Neftali Feliz.
the guy that the Braves traded away.
He's exactly right. From the Mark Teixeira deal a couple of years ago. So thank you, Braves fans, for half the Ranger team who is now starting.
How does that make you feel, Stu?
We trade away so many players every year because our farm system is awesome. And so, got used to it.
Well, we had a little interesting situation happen here. The manager had to go down to the clubhouse and confront this guy and say, look, you're going to have to step back out of your role for a couple of weeks because you need to get right. And so he's now no longer the closer, nor is he the setup guy, but he's going to get spot innings every now and then. So they've taken him out of the role and put this other kid in. So we're easily replaceable in life. Especially when it comes to not closing out the 9th inning. Okay, I'm done. I'm walking away. Cafe du Monde. Sipping coffee.
That makes it, we're easily replaceable in life, but cannot be replaced in the body of Christ.
No, that's right.
Had a way to tie it back around to that spiritual conversation.
See, there's always spiritual things going on in the midst of secular conversation.
That's right.
That's it.
That's the point. I guess you can just realize that we all can have a conversation about God no matter what. We can share our feelings. Last podcast we talked about screaming at God. We talked about the ability to walk out into a field and let God handle it, and it's okay. So I figured I'll show some venting here about the Rangers. So, how y'all doing?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Who said that?
I
Andy.
said I got a question
Go
for you.
for it, buddy.
I was wondering if you we talked about screaming at God and venting to God and letting Him handle it. Do you scream at God and vent to God about the baseball team that you pull for the Texas Rangers?
Oh, quite in the house too, in front of the TV.
I'm surprised Jason hasn't broken his TV.
It's a passion. It's a passion. That's all it is. It's a passion, and I think God enjoys the Rangers with me. I think He enjoys those things with us.
Yeah,
I think so. You know,
There's only one difference: is he has control of what happens.
exactly.
There you go.
Well, I used to think this when I was younger too. I used to think, especially in high school, and I don't know if you guys have ever gone through this, and this is totally like random. But I used to think if I had done something wrong or had a sin that I was dealing with, that my team was not going to win, and it was not, I thought it was like that bad. If I did something bad, oh no, they're not going to win, and it's not going to be a good week, and God doesn't care about me, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You see how external and gross that is?
Dude, I totally would.
Come on, you got stories like that.
Oh yeah, I would totally get right with God before games because I figured I wouldn't play good if I didn't.
All right.
Man, oh gosh.
It's our religious stuff bleeding over into our secular world.
That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have tried that. I wasn't too worried about God when I was playing high school sports, I can tell you that.
Hey, Cordova.
Yes, sir.
So just know that when you start taking that whey protein, that you don't have to get right with God beforehand because it's going to smell just as bad afterwards. As it
And
will
taste
before.
just as bad.
Yep.
No,
I know you're excited about it, aren't you?
There's flavors that you can add in.
Yeah, there's flavors,
Yes.
all right.
But
But
a
it
real-
all comes out the same.
But Jack Bauer wouldn't do that.
Jack Bauer would just eat it with a spoon.
Yeah, he wouldn't even mix it with water.
He probably wouldn't because he's like that.
Well, John, how things going?
Pretty good, man. I'm feeling a little sore this morning,
Mhm.
but I've been this is my that's my fourth week coming up here. Did my workout deal and seeing weight increase every week, and I'm just enjoying it, man. It's a good time to, JT, you're talking about everything in physical to pick something in the spiritual, and I'm seeing that a lot with weightlifting right now, and so
Yeah.
so it's really cool. So I'm doing good.
Awesome. Well, last week, this past Wednesday night, I went to the church, and there was new faces that showed up. Which had a couple of new kids, never been before, and I've never been one to overdo it in the sense of going to a place and saying you have to come to my place to be, in the church. You want to come to my place, I've never gone out and just advertised, hey, we're the best thing going in town, come here. Because numbers really this doesn't do it for me. And as far as kids go, I'd rather have a group of kids that were small in number and wanted to know God. And so, anyways, these two new kids show up, and interesting things happen. I'm right in the middle of the story and teaching, and there's a scripture we used last week. JT brought out from Malachi 3:10, and the whole chapter is good in Malachi, but it says, "Bring the full tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house, and thereby put me to the test," says the Lord of the hosts. If I will not open and see if I will not open the windows of heaven for you and pour down for you a blessing until there's no more need. And anyways, we were in the middle of this session with the kids, and I started thinking about, what are some of the things that bring out the angst in us to want to scream at God or want to test. And I'm looking at a room full of kids, and this is true everywhere, I think, and it's Andy and Stu and John, you guys, JT, you guys know this, that there's divorce, there's death, there's abuse, there is drugs, all the external things that we see that doesn't look good, right? Well, I listed all these externals to the group and just said, look, God can handle your junk, basically. God can handle the junk. But he says also in Scripture, bring the full tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house, and thereby put me to the test. I said, and we talked about going out in the field and screaming,
Yeah.
and everything. We tied it back into 1 Peter 1, 3 through 9, and just talked about the living hope that we have in Jesus Christ and an inheritance found in Him. And even though we go through trials and we go through these things, in the midst of the trials, we can go to God and be honest. We can lift up our voices. We can go to Him and just say, hey, here's the junk. Here it is. You're in control, but here's what I'm going through. And it's not good. And anyways, we talked about that, and I don't give altar calls at all, just because we can all feed an emotional event. But during this situation, I just said, all right, if anybody's got anything on your heart and you got something to say, come see me afterwards. And I prayed and we let him go. And this kid walks up, new to the group. He's a sophomore in high school. And basically he says, you know what, bro? He says, I'm just not sure I'm saved. I just have no clue. I don't even know if this was real. And I said, well, let's help you understand it, and let's help make this real for you, and everything. And basically, I walked through the the stuff with him. Just said, look, this is about you believing. It's about you responding to God and following after Christ, and just being yourself. There's not a bunch of things that's going to happen overnight to make this thing make sense, other than what's on the inside of you right now will never change. It'll always be, you'll always be filled with Christ. You have a union with Christ. You have this relationship with Christ now. The old is gone, the new has come. Anything. He prayed the prayer. He prays, says, God, I believe in you. I need you. I can't live life without you. Good prayer. And he takes the scream aspect to the next level by walking out of the back of the church, throws the doors open, and says, I'm saved, and there's nothing that anybody can do about it. Woo! And he starts yelling and throwing his hands up, and you could hear him screaming outside, so it was really cool.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
What do other church members do?
What's that?
What everybody else do?
Well, number one, they were just glad somebody got saved under my ministry there.
Makes you look good.
Made me look good
God is doing something right.
Yeah, man, God is doing something. He made me look good for at least a week. So, but anyways, it's not about me, right? But no, the funny thing is God showed up, and God showed up in not only his life, but the other kids saw that and said, you know what, this God is pretty good, and there's nothing that I can do to make that happen. And we've been talking about, hey, don't be arrogant enough to think that you save anybody. Don't be arrogant enough to say that you have anything to do with anybody's salvation, that it's God that draws them, it's God that saves them, it's God that does the work. And it's God that prompted him to come up, and ask the question. We just got to be a part of it. We got to hang out and be a part of this deal. Like we sit down and talk. We enjoy the presence of God together. And the big thing is, it's because, you know what? It's God.
Yep.
He's doing it, not us. We can, and this kind of ties into, it's got me thinking about the verse, Psalms 46:10. And, when it comes to worrying about ministry, when it comes to worrying about what we do, who's there, and how it works, it's not up to us. We can worry about the externals all we want to. But Psalms 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations, and I will be exalted in the earth." And be still and know that I am God. A good translation of that is to cease striving and know that I'm God. To cease the work, to cease the junk, to cease to worry of what's going to happen and how God is going to do it. Don't worry about your spiritual growth. Don't worry about how it's going to happen. Don't worry about what you're going to do. It's God that's going to do it, and not you. Well, what does the scripture say? That it says that right there, Psalms 46:10.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
Sorry, I got fired up.
Dangerous stuff, but very true.
It's dangerous to live like that.
Oh yeah, it's more dangerous to live like that in the organized church than it is in the secular world out here.
Mm-hmm.
But well, if you live like that in the secular world, people will take notice,
Right?
Because they get a taste of God.
Right.
And it'll be good. We hadn't really got any specific direction we're going today, so I have this question I'm going to throw out here. It's a question I've been thinking on this week. Me and Jason talked a little bit about it, but can you plan intimacy with God? Now throw out all of your years of what you've been taught and consider this question. Can you plan intimacy with God?
Can you plan?
Yeah.
What do you?
Like I'll
do you
give
mean
you
plan,
like this would be planning. Okay, tomorrow morning at 8:00, I'm going to be intimate with God. Can you do that?
Well, I mean, I guess I have kind of a routine where I get up, I spend some time in the Scripture, but I mean I'm also intimate with God many different times during the day in my prayer and stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean I have a planned out time that I spend with God, that I spend intimate time with God.
Well, see, I
I'd
think.
say
Go ahead.
I say, you can plan a lot of stuff, but unless God doesn't show up in that, then, like I can set aside time to go and say, well, I'm going to spend time with God, but, unless He doesn't show up in that, then.
I guess you have to believe that He's going to show up and speak to you or whatever. I don't know.
What do you think, Stu?
Well, my first response was, I can plan a time to to be intimate with someone here on Earth, but I don't know that necessarily is the same with God.
Well,
If we do if our heart's desires for Him, I don't think He would say, "Well, no, I just don't feel up to it right now. I'm not going to be intimate with you."
Let me throw this out there to you. Goodson and Cordova, Lake Forest Ranch, Fall Retreat, when you guys came with us, we created an atmosphere, and this could be all emotion, and a lot of it was, but there are some hearts that were changed from this. Saturday night at Lake Forest, we created a low-key, intimate atmosphere where the students had an opportunity to kind of push away everything in the world and connect with God on an intimate level. You remember that?
Right.
How, prayer time, soft music, worship, stuff like that. We created that atmosphere for the students to be intimate with God. So we kind of planned it out, praying that God would meet us there.
Right. There's no guarantee that God would have met us there at that moment either.
Exactly.
And there's no guarantee that he was going to do anything that weekend.
Yeah,
But we show up and we do those things. We do those things knowing that God is there and that He is amongst us, no matter what. We're never out of the presence of God. We're never away from Him. And the interesting thing is that even if we do those things, I think God, He can show up in those things, and He moved that night. You could tell in the students that were there. There were lives that were impacted through that. But He could have done nothing. I mean,
Yeah, I was going to ask you, have you planned intimate time with a person here on Earth and it wasn't intimate at all?
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
it's happened.
And here's a little bit of my thinking just on this question and what I've been running through my mind all week is my thinking is, have I been missing intimacy with God at times because I'm not looking for it all the time in everything?
Mm.
It's, we can always plan time for God, but that's not intimacy. Just time is not always intimacy.
It's true.
And it's throwing me back on, if I can't plan intimacy with God, then who's responsible for intimacy with God? You see, God can plan intimacy. If you see what I'm getting at here.
Well, I don't know if I would. I mean, when you say who's responsible for it, I mean, you can't. I mean, I guess when you think about, am I looking for it, am I seeking it? But you can't. I don't know if you can throw that responsibility on yourself, because you can't make God be intimate with you. You know.
Exactly.
I guess I kind of had him up like that yesterday. I was leaving to go work out, and I wasn't even thinking about my whey protein at all. Like, I had my book bag and some other stuff, and I was trying to rush out the door. And when I left, just a sudden thought came to my mind: hey, don't forget your whey protein. And it just stopped me in my track, because I wasn't even thinking about that. And like I said before, like, I'm really enjoying seeing God through these workouts and stuff, because I'm seeing a lot of, pressing through different stuff, resting, and seeing a lot of spiritual aspects and all that. And it was a cool moment, because that thought led into a conversation with God about working out, and like, that God is passionate about things that we're passionate about too. Right. That's His passion in us. And I'm not sure if this even ties in either, but I had a verse in Hebrews that I've been thinking about too. It's Hebrews 2, the latter part of verse 8. He's talking about Christ. He says, now in putting everything in subjection to Him, He left nothing outside His control. At present, we do not yet see everything in subjection to Him. And that's something I've been thinking about too, is that God is in control. And later on in the verse, the next few verses, He talks about how everything is, everything is, how does He say it? Everything exists in Him, in Him bringing many sons of glory. But anyways, just thinking about how God is in everything, but in this present time, I don't see that all the time, but it is true. And JT, kind of go back to the question, He wants us to be intimate with Him in everything. But I can't necessarily plan that either, but I think the table is pulled up to me where, hey, when I choose to, I can come down and sit down and talk,
Yeah. I'll just pull up an interesting verse here that I don't know that I've ever read this before. I'm sure I've read it before, but never noticed it. Proverbs 20:24, man's steps are of the Lord. How then can a man understand his own way? It is a snare for a man to devote rashly something as holy and afterward to reconsider his vows. And the reason that's interesting to me, because it's what I was just thinking on, is how we'll plan out our time to be intimate with God and then miss out on the times when God is intimate with us. Like you're...
See, I don't think that we can miss out on that.
No, I mean, but it's like...
because I had, I mean, like the protein, it was not even on my mind at all. It wasn't even planned. And there's, I mean, I don't know. There's, I mean, I just knew in my spirit that was God initiating, just conversation with Him about that. It wasn't even really about the whey protein. It was just talking to Him about what I'm enjoying doing right now. And that wasn't even planned. But he planned it.
Oh yeah.
Now I could have just said, "Well, thanks," and went about, and not really enjoy that that kind of
Well,
invitation.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's just like we're not looking for it sometimes.
What it comes down like here's just thinking about this. It seems like it comes down to this is part of the union relationship that we have with God. Can we be out of intimacy if we're in union?
Not in that sense.
Yeah,
In a knowing sense, I guess.
I guess. Yeah,
As far as God knows us.
just interesting.
You know.
It's just a question it's been running across my mind this week. It's just how we do things and where we look for God at. And
It comes. I was looking at a quote here. I'd like to read it. I
Go for
don't
it.
know if it has anything to do with what we're talking about. Maybe it says. It says those living with an authentic experience of the risen Jesus say union not only transcends every political, social, cultural, and religious consideration, and not only infuses them with the ultimate meaning, but defines the very purpose of life. Now, looking through all the issues that we deal with and everything that we're going through, life, just living life, that we're never out of this, out of this aspect of union with God. I don't know. It seems like it would be, in trying to figure out, look, because we miss, like humans, we miss intimate moments with one another.
exactly, because it doesn't fit into our schedule a lot of times.
Because it doesn't. We look at it from that aspect. Like I could, this is a silly, I guess a silly illustration, but it'd be like me going to Stu's house, but never engaging Stu, in a way of going, hey, I'm interested about you, and never asking Stu how he's doing, never asking. It'd be like me sitting there and we just kind of, we could spend like 12 hours together and not even having a connection in that way.
Physically
But
present.
sometimes though, it's okay because I feel like I could sit with every one of these guys that's on this podcast today in a room and be totally quiet and be okay with that.
Yeah.
There's,
And I guess that's kind of what I'm thinking on here, because it's like there's times you can be with your friends
right.
and just have the deepest heartfelt conversations, and there's other times that's just not there, but
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing.
Right.
And I love those
Okay.
deep heartfelt conversations.
I think that's part of the intimacy is that it's okay to be silent. Like, me and Elizabeth, my wife, we can sit and not talk for
Right.
20, 30 minutes on time, but that's okay. Like, we don't feel like all the time we need to be engaging in good, heartfelt conversation in order to, show how much we care about each other or something like that. And that's part of the intimacy with God is just sitting with God and it being okay.
And I think this is getting back around to what I'm thinking, and maybe I can put it into words better here. Do we have a natural intimacy with God, or do we have a scheduled intimacy with God?
Yeah, that's a better question there.
I think it's more natural than it's scheduled.
Yeah.
And I would hope that it's a natural in the sense of we recognize it as being
Yeah.
natural.
Do we get all upset when we've set aside time and, it just, we're trying to read a verse and it's just as
Nothing there.
falling on the floor?
Nothing there. God, where are you? I've had moments like that.
I think it could be natural in the fact that,
Yeah.
it's Christ in us and Christ, the Son of God, in us being, all right, so if Christ is in us, we can sit with the Father and it just be okay, talking or not talking or whatever. There's that natural father-son type intimacy there.
Yeah.
What I've experienced in my own life, and I think this would lean more towards the natural, is that I could be sitting in a room with you guys and we might not be having this great deep conversation, but because it's you guys and we have shared things with each other that we've shared intimacy with each other. I feel safe.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that despite my nasty flesh, I'm safe with you guys because you love me. You know who I really am.
Right.
And an example of that, I mean,
over time, it's been like that with me and God. It's still a process that's still going on. But the more and more I spend time with Him, the longer I know Him, the more I feel safe with Him, not feeling like I have to explain myself.
and I think that's perfect because that safe word is a good word because you can sit. I mean, if a good example, if we all went and sat around a fire, we might not talk for 20 minutes, but in our silence, we're communicating because we do feel safe with each other. It's just kind of like all right, we're here and we're friends and we can trust each other. And the same one with God. If I just sit with God in silence, I mean, that just communicates how safe and comfortable I feel with God and how He can communicate, without the big time, worship service or, deep prayer or anything like that.
Yeah.
Here's the example. Sitting and my wife, I'm like Jason with baseball. Baseball is like I have my man cave here at the house. I'm a man of many different teams, but my man cave shows who I'm a real fan of, and that's the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
And I haven't missed a game on TV yet. And more than once, I found myself, CJ is trying to talk to me, and I am so fixated on that game that I'm just going, yeah, and I'm not really hearing much to say.
That provides a great visual for me. I'm sorry.
And now she's been a pro, man. She is so trying to get into it with me. We even did a home run dance the other night when Chipper hit that home run.
Did you record it?
No. But it's just, if I continue to do that, she will stop feeling safe with me. And I have to give her my attention when she wants to share something with me.
Right.
But with God,
CG.
there's that.
Keep your statement going, Stu.
With God, there is. I just know I'm safe. I don't have to win it back.
That messed me up.
Here's an interesting thought on that too. Is probably the longer y'all are married,
Yeah.
she's probably going to get to the point if she says something while you're watching a ball game and you don't hear her, it's not going to bother her
Yeah.
because she knows. It's not going to be like, oh, he don't love me anymore. Because she just knows you're getting in the baseball game. It's I don't have the scriptures here, but the Song of Solomon, the progression there of the bridegroom and bride relationship, and early in Song of Solomon where the bridegroom goes out and the bride is frantic and ends up going out in the street and getting beat up because she's looking for the bridegroom. Later on, bridegroom goes out for a while. The bride just sits and waits because she knows he's coming back. And just that trust of the bride of the bridegroom.
Yeah.
There.
I watched New Moon yesterday. I hate to admit it, but I've been kind of in a.
Don't give details.
Have you not seen it?
No, man.
Oh, well, never mind. There goes my illustration.
Watch it.
Go for it, man.
Well-
Just talk about it. I don't care. It's a joke.
Okay,
You're
really?
going to talk about the guy not
talk
wearing a
about
shirt,
it.
aren't you?
Well, no.
Are you going to say that you're really a
It's
wolf?
tricky to be able to walk around without wearing a shirt. And
I'm talking about how
No.
ripped up he is and how you're going to look like that, aren't you?
or
Well, that's true, but that's not what I'm talking about. What
He is part Indian.
Well, I was thinking he's part wolf. What I was thinking was, just with the whole, and I haven't read the books, Jason. I know you have.
I have.
But there's something there that I was thinking about. Why do why are there so many girls that flock to what's his name, Edward?
He's weird looking, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean he looks like a vampire. He doesn't have much of a personality, and I was talking to Larry about this. Like, what is it about his character that makes girls drawn to him? And so we just started talking about, just the idea that with his character, and I'm not like a huge fan of Twilight. I mean, I'm not trying to boost Twilight here, but just the fact that that he kind of gave all of himself up for her, and it's only for her. And then in New Moon, he says that he has to leave her for a certain reason, and she has to just trust him. And of course, her heart breaks, and she goes off doing stupid stuff. She gets involved with this, with the Wolfman. But ends up coming back to him. It was just a good picture of, of God with and us. Even though God doesn't leave us, but like I said before, there's times that we just don't see that He really is in control and really exists.
Sometimes it's by faith and not by sight.
Right.
Yeah, good.
I forgot where I was going with that, but I was thinking about.
I was wondering.
You were thinking about
I
pectorals.
was waiting for the tie-in. That's
Are
right.
you going to go jump off a cliff or something?
Well, I have done that.
Get ripped up and get a tat right there on your arm that looks kind of cool.
I've already done all that. See, that's the deal. I've done
Man, off your
cliff
shirt.
jumping. I've done cliff jumping. I've got my tattoo. I'm fine. I don't have anything to worry about. But
You're just not a wolf.
But I would say that it was a pretty good movie, and just seeing aspects of God in that, it makes me want to read the book now.
Hey,
I'm not gonna lie. I have that movie on Blu-ray, but that's just because my wife bought it.
it's okay, man. It really is. I've got students who can quote things out of those books. That's why I'm reading it, because I didn't know nothing about it. So I went through and started reading those things, and so.
Yeah, I watched the movie with my nieces while I was home a couple of weeks ago. So.
See, we're all having. See, this is an accountability moment. We're all confessing our sins about watching.
I thought it was pretty cheesy myself. I'm
I
afraid.
didn't think it was that good, man. I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
The first one was cheesy. The first one was cheesy, but the second one was actually, it had some, it had a better plot to it.
it was the second one I saw, and I thought it was cheesy.
There were some cheesy lines, like, I can't quote them like Jason can, but.
Hey, I'll tell you what, though. Ben Baker does the best Edward I've ever seen in my life.
He sure does.
Oh, that kid just killed me in that retreat, man. Golly. Oh, man. I got something interesting. Good quote that kind of sums up a little bit about what we talked about from Thomas Brody. He says, "There is a form of restful union which exists, first of all, in God, but in which humans can participate both during this life and during a later life." And I love that aspect that there's an intimacy amongst us, that even we can go into a conversation about Twilight and be intimately connected. And he goes back to see striving, know that I'm God, and we can be okay with who we are and who He is in us, and that's okay.
Cool. Well, we could do an email time here, but once again, we still don't have any emails. So.
We can promote
Usually
the
helps
Facebook
that,
page.
Oh, yes. I mean, anybody, if you got any comments, if we've said something that we didn't explain well, email us and ask us, call us, do whatever. But
Heaven forbid you disagree with us.
Yes,
my.
forbid it. It's okay. We want to hear from you. Hey, guys, thanks for joining us this morning so early, earlier than usual. And Cordova, good luck with work today.
Thank you.
Andy, I want to encourage you. Keep moving forward, my friend.
Yeah, that's it.
Protect your family.
I will.
Yeah, protect your family, and don't let that
Find your inner wolf.
Yeah, find your inner
I
wolf, my
won't,
friend.
I won't let this situation
Yeah.
get to me.
Okay, cool. Stu,
Yes, sir.
I'm praying for better breathing for the rest of the day for you.
Yeah, did we hear you blow your nose in the background one time back there?
No. I
Okay.
think so.
Must have been with chair or something, but I was thinking, Stu's blowing his nose.
And Stu, man, he just
Better than the alternative. you did.
yeah.
Hey, Stu, man, that's awesome. You're awesome. Hey, and well,
Praying for baby shoemaking in CG's belly.
yes,
Yes.
All right.
I'm so excited to see Baby Shoemake, man.
Stu, have you got a
Awesome.
few names yet?
Yeah. We do. Ciji's forbidden me to say them because she's heard of people stealing names.
Oh,
Hey, that's a true statement. Someone stole our daughter's name that was born a few months before our daughter,
wow,
and
Locally?
she admitted to it. Yeah, openly. So
openly.
That's pretty bad.
very
I have
odd.
another story of someone we all know.
Is it? No, sorry.
Huh?
I was gonna make a dumb statement. I moved on.
Having their baby's name stolen. So, yeah.
Well, you can be safe with Eugene.
Eugene.
That's my brother's middle name.
Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with Eugene, man.
I got a good friend named Gene, man. Call him Mean Gene.
Man,
Nice recovery,
Eugene.
Nathan.
what?
If it's a boy, I'm sure Stu would probably want to call him Chipper.
Hey, man, one of the greatest Dallas Cowboys that ever
Yeah.
lived was Eugene Lockhart, buddy. Don't think I haven't thought it.
Oh, gosh.
Don't think I haven't thought it for my own son if I ever have one of those.
Yeah, you hadn't had the opportunity for that one yet. Keep coming out, girls.
Stu,
Yeah.
Stu, if it's a girl, you can name her Jack Lynn, and if it's a boy, Bauer.
How about not?
Have you stopped yet?
No, I haven't. Stopped.
Okay, we're stopping. And boom.
Everybody have a good week.